And India coming at the back of that emphatic win against Australia in Chennai. And with me in the studios is former coach of Team Sri Lanka of the 1996 World Cup winning team, grinning over here with me because he got all the playing 11 right from both the sides. As always, Dav, do you want to gloat over your choice of players that you had selected?
Well, it's nice to get right a few things in this show, but certainly I think it was a bit of a no-brainer. You don't need three spinners on this new relayed wicket, and Shardul Thakur or Shami were the ones. I went for Shardul Thakur because of his ability to bat as well. So you know, I was fortunate to get that 11 correct. So good team again. The top order obviously will want to have a different result from Chennai, and I'm pretty sure they'll get it.
What about Team Afghanistan? You have all those 11 right as well. Very interesting matchup actually. We've not really seen that team play too much of ODI cricket, and they're up against a heavyweight like India today.
Yeah, it's almost a bit of a David and Goliath match today. There we have the same 11. It's basically, their team basically revolves around the spin, the terrific spin of the three of those guys, Mujib, Rashid and Mohammad Nabi, all experienced players. And they'll be looking to have a decent total on the board, Isha, so they can give the ball to those three guys and have them bowl their 30 overs with a fair amount of runs on the board. So, you know, it's going to be a tough effort for them to get those runs on the board, but, you know, I'm really thinking, anyway, that they're going to get, I reckon, high 200s. If they bat properly. It's a good surface. They get a start. They must go on. But I'm not sure they can get, you know, a big 300, 350. I'm pushing that they'll get high 200s, maybe 300.
So if the previous game at the same very track is any indication, we're definitely expecting a high score today as well. And that should be Afghanistan's strategy. Put up the numbers first up, and then have the other team chase it.
Well, that's right. You know, it's a nice seeing day. The wicket is beautiful. You can trust the bounce, it looks like. It's probably even better than the previous game that South Africa hit that record. So that's the strategy, is to get a lot of runs on the board. But how you do that, how you construct that, will depend on the ability of batsmen who get starts, and they're going to get starts today, how long they can accumulate those runs and take it deep before, you know, they get out. So I'm predicting close to 300.
Very quickly, who could be India's nemesis? You know, that famed batting order from Team Afghanistan. They have a battery of very good spinners. Who could prove to be India's nemesis? Also, given the track today, do you think spinners is what will come in handy going into the match?
I'm not sure spinners will have that much of an impact as they did in Chennai. Yes, they'll be required to, you know, to play their part, but certainly, you know, the medium pacers, I think, will be asked to do the bulk of the work today. Still not discounting Ravindra Jadeja. He's my boy. You know, the subtleness of his speeds. His length doesn't seem to vary that much, but, you know, he's got the ability to bowl that good arm ball as well. So, look, you know, the spinners will play a part, but it's essentially a track that's, I think, you know, the responsibility, the bulk of that will be with the paceman.
Very quickly, Dav, who would be a challenge for Team India from Team Afghanistan? After that, we go over to our sports editor, Digvijay Singh Deo, who has very nicely perched himself at the Firoz Shah Kotla ground. We will get all the updates from him as well. Very quickly, who is instrumental in the Afghanistan squad who will prove to be a danger for Team India? This is the Indian lineup. If we can just go over to the Afghanistan lineup, then we can just take a look at those as well.
Well, the Afghanistanis, their attack, you know, you would have to, I'd be silly if I didn't refer to the Naveen-ul-Haq and Virat Kohli spillover from, you know, the IPL. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Indian fans taunting that boy Naveen-ul-Haq because of the incident that happened in the IPL.
Right.
So I reckon that'll be, that's one of my battles anyway, you know. I just hope that, you know, it doesn't doesn't spill over again. I mean, these two guys, everyone knows how good Virat Kohli is. He knows himself, but there's no need for all this. It's a good advert for cricket worldwide, and you know, I'm expecting that to happen, and a good effort by everyone.
Well, that's a bit of a setup by Dav Whatmore about what's going to happen in just a few minutes from now on. But let's now head over to the Arun Jaitley Stadium where Digvijay Singh Deo, WION Sports editor, is very patiently waiting. He's been listening to this conversation. Digvijay, do tell us what is the mood like at the stadium right now?
Hi, I was listening to both of you, and before I answer that, you can see people streaming in behind me. Everyone's probably wanting to get to their seats before the first ball is bowled. The news, obviously, Afghanistan winning the toss and opting to bat first. That means we'll get a run chase, and then you are going to see India's big guns out there. But why is Dav Whatmore? Why is it always Ravindra Jadeja? The captain of that World Cup winning team in 2008 was a certain Virat Kohli. This is his home ground. Why the bias? Why the bias? No. Everyone going past me has Virat written on their back. So why Jadeja? Why not Virat? Why is he not your boy?
The question was who I think can do something in this in the bowling attack, and I felt that whilst all the quicks are going to play a big part in it, the spinners will also have a part to play, and it's not going to be easy for you know, the wrist spinner as well, although he's good, Kuldeep. But this guy, I think he's got something special on all surfaces. So you know, and Diggy, I just have to say, mate, it must be really hot there, is it?
No, I've actually perched myself at a very right place. You know, I'm standing outside the VVIP entrance, and thankfully there's a bit of shade. As you can see, the police sirens blaring, VVIP movement behind me. So I've perched myself right at the right spot where it's not that hot. There's some shade. But I must tell you, Dav, I met you before I left office, and I didn't expect it to be such a long journey here, because this World Cup, we've seen a lot of empty seats. I was just seeing people streaming in, you know, lots of blue shirts, lots of India shirts out there. And it took us half an hour to actually get to the last 500 meters outside the stadium to where we are right now. In fact, just outside the VIP entrance. So that's where I am at the moment.
But I think, Isha and Diggy, anywhere India plays during this World Cup, there will not be a spare seat in the house.
Absolutely.
You know, everyone is with the team. You know, it's not so much the pressure they put on the team, they're just with them, you know, and I think that's a slight difference, that the guys can understand that they are for them and not to put pressure on them. There won't be a spare seat in the house anywhere that India plays.
Digvijay, I don't know if you can see Dav from there. You obviously perhaps cannot, but he is wearing blue. He's wearing a blue shirt too, yeah.
If I could just... If I could just come in, I was hearing what he said about Virat Kohli and Naveen ul Haq. I hope that doesn't happen, because this is Virat's home crowd. This stadium is going to erupt if something like this happens.
He's going to cop it big time if he starts anything like that, yeah.
Just as I said, just to be on the safe side, he is wearing a blue shirt. You can perhaps not see him.
India.
Yeah, he's wearing a blue shirt, and exact same colour as one would expect him to in today's game. All right, Digvijay.
I'm also wearing blue, some shades of blue. Yeah. One has to be neutral. One has to be neutral. So
well, I am the epiphany of neutral with blacks.
Blue here as well.
However, Digvijay, do tell us, what do you think is the pitch like today? Have you heard from the groundsman? Have you heard any talk from your sources around? Is it going to be another high-scoring encounter as we saw at the same stadium the last time around?
Yes, as Dav was mentioning, a completely relit pitch. In fact, the stadium's been refurbished as well. I can say the bathrooms are pretty clean, because that was a big complaint heading into this World Cup. But the feedback I'm getting is, and I just heard both captains of the toss, Afghanistan said we were always going to bat. Rohit Sharma said when we were training yesterday, the dew was coming in, so we would have chased in any case. So, as Dav said, what Afghanistan need to do is they need to put runs on the board and then see if they can put India under pressure. Because ultimately, going back to that last game in Chennai, Australia put India under serious pressure, but they just didn't have the runs. Okay, if India would have batted first, you could have thought that perhaps, look at something like a 380, 400 score. But even if Afghanistan get anywhere close to 300, it's a pitch where you can hit through the line. Then you have some sort of hope for your bowlers, because this Indian batting lineup will get the runs.
Right.
But you put them under pressure and see if they can respond. That's the only way to do this.
And Diggy, just a one point of discussion, that the Indian team made the one change, and I got it right. Sadul Thakur was playing. But given that the surface of that...
so did I.
Yeah, given that the surface is so good, maybe I'm sure that there would have been some discussion of Mohammad Shami, who's a full bowler, may have given some thought to him playing in the 11. I know it would have reduced their batting power a little bit, but that's the only other thing I was thinking of, that perhaps a full bowler instead of a all-rounder.
I thought of that as well, Dav, but I just think that the nature of the pitch, the way it is, and seeing what happened in the last game, they need an extra batter, solidity of an extra batter. I feel, and this is my personal opinion, I feel India missed a trick here. I think they should have gone in with Surya Kumar Yadav, and I've been saying that all through. Because I think if you don't play him on a pitch like this, when do you play him?
Yeah.
And as Dav was telling us, Isha, the Surya Kumar Yadav, if he gets, say, even a 45 or 20 balls, it leaves the bowlers very deflated and the team deflated, heading into the dressing room for the next inning. So that's what I think he does. He's a destroyer, he's a game changer, and India need him. India need him in this World Cup.
And he's a good bench warmer.
Yeah. As you've seen of late. Digvijay, also, I think what we're interested to know is, do you see any Afghanistan fans there? We've seen Afghanistan play a lot of cricket in India. In fact, well, for the most part, they play a lot of World Cup games. But we have seen a few of their players playing in the IPL in India. Do you see Afghanistan fans there turning up for their favourite players, the likes of Rashid Khan and whatnot?
I have looked around. I can tell you I haven't seen even one, but they'll be around. Yeah. In fact, I must add that many years ago we once did a story on WION. The Afghanistan team had its base in Greater Noida, in fact, not too far away from where you and Dav are. And there's a substantial Afghan population here as well. There's a lot of eating joints in Lajpat Nagar as well. So they will be there, but they'll be completely outnumbered. It's completely blue. I haven't seen a single Afghanistan fan coming in. Perhaps if they're in, they're not wearing the national colours to blend in, perhaps.
All right, Digvijay, hope you have a great day at the stadium today. We will keep coming back to you for the mid-innings session as well, and we will talk to Digvijay Singh Deo throughout the day, get updates from what's happening at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. He'll be getting us live updates from there. Well, Dav, more thoughts on the game today. We already discussed it is going to be a run fest, perhaps. Afghanistan should aim to put up those numbers, those runs first up, so that they can put India to chase those numbers there. You also told us about the key battles that one can see between these two teams. Why don't you just take us through those?
Right. I've got 5 potential good ones. Rohit Sharma would have to be one of them, because he's the opening batsman. Ishan Kishan didn't get much the previous one, but Rohit Sharma, I think, will definitely be needing to negotiate a left armour in Farooqi. And also the other fast bowler in Naveed-ul-Haq. But certainly the lefty, I'm sure, will be wanting to make inroads. And as I said earlier, Naveed-ul-Haq, who had a little bit of a spillover with Virat Kohli and added a bit of spice at the time, it escalated a little bit too much to my liking, but certainly that's another battle. KL Rahul, who batted so very well again, would be discussed at depth during the Afghanistan meetings. And Mujibur Rahman, even though it is a wicket that's going to be difficult, this guy's for spinners, this guy's a mystery bowler. So he'll have some portion of his deliveries that you'll have to be careful of, despite being a good batting wicket. Now, 2 left, Ramanullah Gurbaz, again, is one of their main batsmen. If he gets a start, I honestly think that he's one guy that can really shine out for his team, and he could return back to Afghanistan as a bit of a hero, good player. Hashmatullah Shahidi also, I think, is a very fine player, and being a middle orderish player up the top, but middle order, you'll have to negotiate some spin. And this guy, in my opinion, is a very wily and cunning guy.
And your favourite.
Yeah, he's a beauty, and certainly will be facing Jadeja as well as a few other bowlers as well.
Dav, today's fixture is very important for both the teams to get those points on board so that they inch closer towards that final 4 spot. More important for Afghanistan, especially after their drubbing last night at the hands of, one would say, not that humongous an opposition in the lineup of Bangladesh. Do you think they have it in them to somehow clinch today, or do you clearly see the match tilted one way?
Clearly see the match tilted one way. Look, it's going to be very, very difficult. You know, you can never say never, I guess, but you know, really, 99.9%, everybody would say the same thing. And it's going to be. It's a matter of how much you win by. I think India is just a superbly, talented group of players in their home conditions, and I just fear that Afghanistan, if they don't really try hard and they get a bit of a start, it could be a little embarrassing. But the conditions are such that I'm still expecting some of those batsmen to make merry, enjoy it. You know, they're going to get a start, enjoy it, and get as many runs as you can to make it as difficult as possible for the home team, who are just supremely talented.
Juxtaposing that with their T20 skill set, which is power hitting, which we saw in a lot of Afghan players, do you think that skill set will come in handy in today's pitch the way it is? It's a flat bed, you can definitely score a lot of runs. Do you see that skill coming in handy?
The 50 overs is a much longer game than the 20-over game. So when you're saying, big hitting, there is room for that. But if there's big hitting, too much big hitting, you're going to take some risks doing it. So if
solidify your land.
Yeah, if you are taking risks, then there's a chance you could get out. Now, if 2 or 3 of them take those risks and get out, then you're leaving yourself open to the middle and lower middle, which is not a good way to go in the 50-over match. So it's getting a little closer to conventional batting, but when you get a start, you have to go on. You have to have a lot more intensity throughout the 50 overs, as much as you can muster. We all know the intensity is there always in the last 6 to 10 overs, maybe the last 5 overs. Certainly, the intensity is there. But, between overs 20 to 40, you've got to have some of that as well in that phase, in those 2 phases.
Virat Kohli and KL Rahul were instrumental in India's win the last time around. Who is the MVP, so to say, for today's game, you think?
Most valuable player? It could go to any one of the Indian boys. But I'd like to think number 3 batsman's going to, certainly going to have a say in it for the Indian team, and being his home ground, he's such a hugely popular player all over the country, but here in Delhi, the noise is just going to be unbearably loud when he comes into bat.
Like Digvijay just told us, it's a sea of Virat fans.
It's a sea of blue too, isn't it? I've been told. A lot of people supporting India. I just feel that he has every chance of being the most valuable player today.
All right. On No More with Whatmore, we are already getting a lot of comments, Dav.
Okay.
First one comes in from Manav, who says, is losing the toss a good thing, provided the unknown nature of the pitch?
Well, they've lost the toss twice, haven't they? In Chennai they lost, and they were asked to chase. Here they've lost, and they're asked to chase again. I think the captain would prefer to win the toss. Particularly in conditions like this, you'd like, to have the advantage. I think maybe of batting first if you feel that's the way to go. But no, not really. Look, the toss is irrelevant today, but it may be important in games in the future.
Rahul says, he asks rather, if Ishan Kishan fails to deliver in this match, does he lose his place in the playing 11 when Shubman Gill returns? It's That's a pertinent
when is
question.
Shubman Gill returning? That's the thing, because the following match is the real big one in Ahmedabad, where India plays Pakistan in a full crowd, full house of 100,000 plus people. So that's the question, is Shubman Gill going to be available? And if he is available, he'll need to really get some solid practice in beforehand to bring him back up to that competition mode that he was so beautifully, in form before he got ill. So if Ishan Kishan misses out today, then do you... And let's assume Shubman Gill's available. Then do you make that change then? Or do you want to hold him back until he's superbly fit to return to competition and then rejig the batting order with Surya Kumar Yadav coming in and maybe KL Rahul opening the batting? That's an option as well. But we'll know in another day or two how young Gill is going.
How does Rahul fit in opening? How does he fare there?
Well, it's nothing new for KL Rahul. He's been an opener, for most of his career, and he's.
Where do you think he's better suited, though?
Well, with the gloves on, I think he's, he prefers to have a little rest. After keeping wickets for 50 overs, it's always preferable to have a little rest. But these offsided today, Rahman Allah Gurba is an opening batsman who keeps as well. So there is examples of keepers who open the batting and still do very well. Adam Gilchrist was another one.
BK Scott says, watching live from Zambia, thank you so much, Scott, for doing that. Mukul asks, India had a close encounter with Afghanistan in the 2019 World Cup. Can the opposition once again bring the X factor into the team?
Well, we'd like to think so. I mean, we all love a good game, don't we? And I think those conditions were different in England, totally different to what we are going to experience here in Delhi. We'd like to see a good game. I'm all for it, and I sympathise with Afghanistan. They've been in as a full member for not all that long, but they've done very well. They've done extremely well, particularly in that shortest format. So I'm hoping for a good game, and let's see.
Okay. Robert Benson says he's watching from Sydney, Australia. Thank you so much, Robert. S. Badrinath comments, writing this with the hope that Shardul does well, but surprising to see him play in place of Ashwin. He's neither a better batsman than Ashwin nor a better bowler than Shami.
Oh, Shami. So he's wanting Shami to play.
He's neither a better batsman than Ashwin nor a better bowler than Shami.
Right. I understand what he's saying. He's from Chennai too, isn't he?
This is Badri commenting,
Badri, that's right. He's very much TNCA. So, you'd expect him to support the local teammate. But Ashwin, yes, no one's questioning his ability. What a wonderful cricketer and a great servant for both Tamil Nadu Cricket Association and India. But I think on these conditions, it's not surprising that they go for another pace bowler. Now, whether it's Mohammad Shami taking his place, or they've gone for the all-rounder, then that's a call that they make. But I just felt that is the correct way to go. It's not a reflection of Ashwin. I think he's a wonderful player, and I think the team and the squad is more strengthened, very much strengthened with him in the team than not in the squad.
All right, Badri, thank you so much for writing in. I hope you enjoy the game today. Naidu asks, how much can be an ideal total on this pitch, considering this has been a high-scoring World Cup already?
Naidu, fair enough. Look, this is a relayed pitch, and this surface is got totally different characteristics to the previous ones that we've seen at the Arun Jaitley Stadium, in the sense that it's just a very hard surface. It's even, it's flat. And a little bit of grass on it, which really, makes it a wonderful spectacle for the fans who come to see runs scored. And there's going to be a lot of runs scored. And if you're not watching, when they hit sixes, you might get hurt. So keep your eye on the ball right throughout that 50 overs, because you never know when a shot can be played in anger, and it comes really quickly. And some of those sixes, Isha, I'm a little bit worried about some of the fans getting hurt, because it comes very, very quickly.
And especially with those numbers turning in.
Yes, there's not a spare seat in the house. In fact, they're probably over.
No empty seats there. All right. Aditya says Afghanistan won the toss and elected to bat first. Shardul Thakur comes in place of an India spinner. Is he a right choice?
Well, I think so. He's either Mohammad Shami or Shardul Thakur come in. It doesn't matter. They're going to win. But the fact that your all-rounder comes in, that gives you that just a little bit more insurance with the batting if you need it, or I don't think they will.
Very interesting question, Dav. Nafisa asks, how should Afghanistan approach the first 10 overs against India's strong batting lineup?
Yeah, I just feel they've got to play cricketing shots. Let's not look to be, to play the millionaire shots and improvise. No improvisation. You play the ball on the merits. You're going to get balls to hit anyway. There are going to be some good ones. They're international opening bowlers. You've got to expect that they are going to receive some terrific balls. So it doesn't matter. You play the ball on this merit. Give yourself a little bit of time, because on this pitch and these conditions, you can easily make up for it later. Strike rates may be a little bit lower than what you think, but by the end of your innings, it's going to be up there.
It's going to pay off, yeah. Okay. We did get a very interesting one also. I'm just looking for that comment. Okay, Akul asks, not getting Shami in the playing 11, a trick missed by the Indian team?
Well, that's that's the discussion, isn't it? That's the discussion that most fans would be talking about. But I don't. Let's assume it's a wrong decision, it's not going to cost the team. It's if it is a wrong decision, it's only a wrong decision by this much. So I wouldn't bother too much.
Right. Very quickly, Dav, Faizan asks, with Pakistan chasing 345 and other teams finding it easy to chase at the targets, is the pattern of the run chase set for the ODI World Cup?
Well, it's looking that way, although in Dharamsala that wasn't the case. England put up a huge total and they managed to defend it easily. I think it comes back down to who the opponent is, what are their strengths, what are their areas they're not so good at, what are your strengths, what is the surface like, all those
you have to
factors.
Factor all those in,
yes. You do. You need to discuss those factors and then come up with what you think will be the best way to attack it on that pitch to win the game.
Dav, the last one, this one is actually for you. We've been getting a lot of comments on Dav Whatmore as well, the World Cup winning coach from the year 1996 of the famed Sri Lanka team. Neomal Udayanga says, Dear Dav, nice to see you like this. Still, you are one of the heroes of our life due to the win in the 1996 World Cup.
What a good judge he is. Thank you very much for that. It was very humbling. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Do keep writing in. Dav Whatmore will be here with us for the next 40-odd days or so. We are setting up camp here at the WION studios. Make sure you stay tuned to WION World of Cricket. We'll see you in a bit for the mid-innings.